Thanks for tuning into this edition of Positively Montana. I'm Hallie Schwinnard. Each week we travel the state looking for stories that inspire. From Montanans helping with hurricane devastation in other parts of the country to artists helping those with disabilities. Let's begin with Northern Lights Family Justice Center. It's the first of its kind in Billings, working to provide a safe space and resources for victims of domestic violence, abuse, and sexual assault. They spent some time at the Yellowstone County Courthouse hanging up T-shirts with positive messages to honor loved ones who have been victims themselves.
It's something you may not realize, but nearly 60% of reported crimes in Billings each year are related to domestic violence. And a local organization is hoping to bring more awareness to this fact and the issue that heavily impacts our community each day. While it may have looked like it, it wasn't laundry day at the Yellowstone County Courthouse lawn on Saturday.
If anyone's been affected by domestic violence, we've asked that they come down, bring a t-shirt. We've had t-shirts donated as well.
The Clothesline Project is a nationwide effort to highlight victims of domestic violence, but the Northern Lights Family Justice Center is bringing it to Billings.
Back, as far as I know, back in like the 50s, when a lot of times you'd hang your clothes on a clothesline to dry them, a lot of times women, if they were in a really scary situation, they'd share messages across the fence or whatever on the clothesline.
Over a dozen people shared messages over the weekend, those of encouragement and empowerment.
There was one girl that said, you know, her family member was killed because of domestic violence. I'm glad that those people are seeing this and knowing that we're here to help support them.
The stories of women killed by domestic violence were also printed out for people to read.
It's shocking, and I think that that's important for people to see that and understand that this happens every day.
It's an issue Northern Lights coordinator Taya Keith has been affected by herself.
I have been affected by domestic violence personally. Being able to stand up for not only myself but for others is something I'm really passionate about.
And volunteer Christy Bice is a child sexual abuse survivor, and after experiencing a difficult time obtaining resources, she now works to help others.
I want other survivors to know that there are resources available. There are people that will hear you and believe you.
Both women hope that their work with Northern Lights will help bring awareness to these issues and let other women know that there is still hope to hang on to.
It's important to me that everyone knows. I mean, you have a choice, but knowing that there's support and there's other people like you and that it can be better.
In Billings, Isabel Sparts, MTN News.
A Montana woman couldn't stand idle after seeing the devastation inflicted on the East Coast by Hurricane Helene. So she took action, packing her bags and heading out to help support relief efforts.
Hurricane Helene swept through the southeast, devastating communities in Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas.
As Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton raged across the East Coast, Montana stepped up to help by deploying Red Cross volunteers.
We've got 5 or 6 volunteers, Red Cross volunteers from Montana out the door right now, and we expect more to go out the door in the weeks and months to come. This is going to be a long-term response.
There's cars flipped upside down and just trees everywhere, debris everywhere. You couldn't tell that there was a town.
Boulder resident Heather Sappington braved the distance and traveled over 2,000 miles to help in Asheville, North Carolina.
Well, when I first got there, I flew into Charlotte and everything looked completely normal because life was normal in that little, that big town. Then we drove up to Asheville for the day, me and one of the other Red Cross members, and it was completely different. Like the town was gone.
As a shelter supervisor, volunteers like Heather oversaw those who have lost their homes.
We took them in, gave them, cots and blankets and food and everything. So I did that at night. And then, I supervised the other Red Cross members.
Heather's decision to volunteer so far from home came from watching the storm's developments and feeling a call to action.
Just they didn't have enough hands. It was awful. If nobody does it, then nobody does it. And I always kind of thought, I don't like feeling helpless. So there's always something you can do.
Montana's involvement in relief efforts goes beyond volunteers. Rallying up support can be done through simply donating blood.
But every 2 seconds, somebody in this country needs that blood. So we're asking people in the unimpacted areas like Montana to raise your hand, come out and donate life-saving blood.
With over 2,000 volunteers from all over the nation on the ground, Heather's efforts alongside other Montana volunteers reaffirms that when disaster strikes, Montanans are ready to help. In Great Falls, Brianna Juneau, MTN News.
The man known as the Dinosaur Cowboy worked on the dueling dinosaurs about 10 miles in that direction. Now he has this spot. He's been working on this for 2 years with his family, has about 5 more years ahead. And he says in his 30 years of dinosaur hunting, this is the best sight that he's ever had.
It looks like a fairly complete, possibly Tyrannosaurus rex tooth.
Clayton Phipps finds a T-Rex tooth on what he calls his best site ever for dinosaur fossils.
A piece of every dinosaur known from the Hell Creek Formation I found at this site.
The Hell Creek Formation near Jordan was once close to the ocean and stretches into parts of the Dakotas and Wyoming.
All the Hell Creek Formation, which is a world-famous fossil-bearing layer from the end of the dinosaur times, the last dinosaurs on Earth are found in this formation.
Phipps' idea of a full-time paleontological life first started to take shape back in 2006 when he and friends made a big discovery at another site of a Tyrannosaurus rex and a Triceratops.
I think they're in very close proximity to where they died, and I think they killed each other. It's obviously they weren't friends.
That find is called the Dueling Dinosaurs and is now owned by the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences. Phipps says he agreed to not disclose the price, but published reports have someone else saying it was at 7 figures.
Not only was it unique to find these two of the most iconic animals preserved together, but the state of the preservation was remarkable.
Dr. Elizabeth Jones is the project manager for the museum's Cretaceous Creatures. Phipps' discovery is so special that the museum has built a new lab to study the fossil. The work brought museum paleontologists to Jordan in September, a trip of a lifetime in this line of work.
It's one of the best parts of my job is to be able to go out and see things that no other human has seen before, to dig stuff up and to try to piece together all these pieces of information that we're seeing.
Most of the good scientific fossils that we found have found their way to institutions, and I'm proud of that. I like to find them so other people can study them and enjoy them.
Phipps loves ranching and even bought some of his first cattle with what he made on a T-Rex tooth. But now the Dinosaur Cowboy has given up cattle ranching in pursuit of what's buried beneath.
All I ever wanted to do was be a cowboy. But then I kind of caught this disease, and now all I want to do is find fossils. And it's worked out.
It's worked out into a nice family business. Near Jordan, David J., MTN News.
For years, Eagle Mount has provided immersive field trips for Billings residents living with disabilities. Recently, organization members got to test out their abilities on the canvas with a field trip to the Electric Storm Gallery.
There's just so much joy, and the world needs more of that.
That joy was seen all day Thursday at Electric Storm Gallery.
We do an awful lot of arts and crafts, but the opportunity to work with actual artists in an artist gallery
is priceless. So that's why students from Eagle Mount went on an interactive field trip to the gallery. The group is a part of School District 2's new vocational instruction program at the Lincoln Center.
This is students who graduated last year and now are in sort of a super senior year. The school district is just introducing this year that helps develop vocational skills and abilities.
Eagle Mount is something they always volunteer, help out with people, like they get ready to do something activities.
The field trip was prompted by artist Carolyn Martin Kennedy, who exhibits her work at the gallery and is auctioning off one of her paintings to benefit Eagle Mount.
For a really long time, she's been wanting to give back to the community, and her and I collaborated together on picking a charity.
The students created projects mixing both Kennedy's style with gallery owner Taylor Evans' style of using found objects.
Anything from buttons, beads, dice, eyeglass lenses, doll shoes, and the found objects come from my artwork. They're something I use in my practice, and the acrylic is what Carolyn uses, so we just merged those two things together.
We usually paint a lot. We do some arts and crafts. There are a lot of activities. So that means we always paint a lot. And Carolyn, she helped me a lot. She was my amazing volunteer helper.
The project shows how art can help connect and bring these students a sense of belonging.
By getting involved with Eagle Mount and taking part in all of the activities that we do, all of the partnerships that we're so fortunate to have gathered, it really creates opportunities for individuals to become one with the community.
In Billings, Isabel Sparts and Jeremiah will take it from here.
MTN News, back to you, Russ. We'll see you tonight at 5:30 and 10.
Still to come on this edition of Positively Montana, snapshots of devastation. For 20 years, one wildland firefighter has been documenting life within the fire lines through his lens. His story when we come back. Welcome back to Positively Montana. From a summer job between college semesters to a 20-year career, Kyle Miller has been fighting fires across the country for what is now most of his life. Alongside his firefighting gear, the 38-year-old carries a camera, snapping stills of the lives of those who live among fire.
Floating around, there are quite a few other wildland firefighters in here, so you guys
It happens in a fraction of a second.
Do I have really nice light? Do I have a limited number of colors, a non-busy background, a good subject?
For Kyle Miller, life has consisted of a career of these moments.
Kyle Miller is the captain of the Hot Shots crew here, the Wyoming Hot Shots.
It just started out as a good job in between college semesters, so now I'm here 21 seasons later, still doing it.
Well, what I'm seeing is a lot of hard work, first of all, long days, extreme conditions.
The might of Earth's brimstone, just cluttered snapshots for most.
Most of us just take pictures for memories, and that's how it started with me. My first fire assignment was to Alaska in 2004. I had a old disposable Kodak.
Taking center stage, sites once kept secret are displayed as art.
We want people to feel up close and side by side with the wildland firefighters. This is putting people inside that fire.
Glimpses humankind is only expected to see more of.
What better way to talk about climate change and the increase in frequency, the intensity, and the size of these fires?
While the science may be our way out, it's art like Kyle's that speaks to people, that reminds us this is our only home.
Science is incredibly important, and we need to make decisions that are data-driven. However, reaching broader audiences requires a compelling story.
But for Kyle, coming together to find a solution to overcome a gargantuan task is just the way of life lived among the fire.
You can't separate the two. You can't separate us out of the landscape, out of the environment.
Marcus Kokova, MTN News.
Agriculture is a way of life, and in rural Montana, it is the way of life. But it's a trade that's rapidly changing, and a grass range rancher is sounding the alarm on some of the external factors in a new book, Feeding a Divided America.
Well, everyone knows agriculture is a way of life, and here in rural Montana, it is the way of life. But it's a trade that's rapidly changing. Now, grass range rancher Gilles Stockton is sounding the alarm on some of the external factors driving those changes in his new book, Feeding a Divided America.
Working 5,000 acres in Fergus County from sunrise to sunset gives Gilles Stockton a lot of time to think.
Everything goes through your head. I mean, you know, you're out there for hours at a time just going around in smaller and smaller circles, right? You got to think about something.
Stockton mulls over the little things.
You know, and I look at all the stuff that needs to be fixed up. That bums me out because it's not getting done.
But what really vexes him are the big things, major changes to the agriculture industry that have altered his way of life over the years. When Gilles took over the family ranch in 1975, he says he took home 73 cents for every dollar that consumers spent on beef. Today, that number has dropped to 35 cents.
So over that 50-year span, the take-home pay of the ranchers has been cut in half.
Stockton started writing down and organizing his thoughts.
I was seeing that the issues that I was trying to deal with were interconnected, and I work best if I can actually write it down.
The book is a collection of essays focusing on the major issues facing agriculture today, and he hopes readers will take away three things. Number one,
it's to give the reader an understanding of the economic and cultural reality of agriculture in America today.
Second is the political divide between rural and urban America.
What are the reasons for this anger, this dysfunction, political dysfunction that we have?
The third point is the effect of climate change on agriculture.
Erratic weather is very hard on farmers and ranchers, right? Because we don't know how to plan for the next crop.
A combination of factors that have made it very hard for a family ranch or farm to succeed.
We have higher rates of alcoholism. We have higher rates of suicide. Right? So we love our work, but we're killing ourselves. Right? Why? That's the economic stress. But, my God, what an incredible privilege it is to have a ranch in Montana.
Tom Wiley, MTN News.
Karen Frank is someone that epitomizes what it is to be a real estate agent.
Thank you. Helping people find the perfect home is Karen Frank's passion.
To welcome you to 2940 Ronan Drive.
It's a job that she has loved doing for a long time.
You just take them through the entire process. Once you get that done, then you go out shopping. Look at all these soft hooks, soft clothes, cabinets. Beautiful, beautiful.
Karen has been making a name for herself in real estate for more than 30 years. And if she's not out showing a home, you'll find this 85-year-old working hard in the office.
It's so wonderful. I mean, it's making dreams come true. And that may sound trite, but it is absolutely true.
Elegance and experience. That's how I would describe Miss Karen. Yeah, everyone just loves her.
Before making the move to real estate, Karen spent more than a quarter of a century at the old Hart Albin department store downtown. She's also been involved in the Billings community over the years, serving on too many boards to remember.
Just getting to know people, getting to know something about them really helped me with my real estate career when I got started.
Building those relationships as well as hard work and dedication have certainly paid off.
I'm in third generations with some of my clients. That's pretty nice.
I tease a lot of the younger agents and say, listen, you're going to have to pick it up. Karen's out working you. She's just an amazing gal. She's a pleasure.
I am so grateful for what I have. I'm so grateful for the opportunity. I mean, the Smiths they could say, Karen, you're too old, clean out your office, but they don't. They're wonderful.
Karen says she has no plans for retirement right now and would like to keep working until she can't.
Jokingly, I say, when my phone stops ringing, then I'll know it's time to stop, but it hasn't stopped ringing yet. So that's a good thing, isn't it?
In Billings, Russ Riesinger, MTN News.
Still to come on this edition of Positively Montana, it may just be the beginning of November, but it's time to start thinking about the holidays. After the break, hear how detention workers are helping families in need. Stay with us. Welcome back to Positively Montana. With the holiday season quickly approaching, the staff at the Cascade County Detention Center is looking to make a difference in the lives of 5 families. It's an initiative they started a few years back aimed at making the season a bit brighter for those in need.
The Cascade County Detention Center is adopting 5 families this holiday season to give back to the community in a way that helps people in need, but they also need your help.
I was always raised that Christmas is always about giving. So that's our way of giving back to the community, also making it a little bit easier on families, because we get a wish list from clothes that they would like, what color, what kind of toys they like, different things along those lines. So we go based off that list and we go out and purchase those items. So when we go and deliver them to the family, they're getting something that they actually need.
The detention center began this program in 2020 to support families who were struggling during the COVID-19 pandemic. Since then, they have continued this effort to serve the community.
There's a lot of entities out there, like Toys for Tot and the Angel Tree, and then the GFPD also does their Shop with a Cop. But we're the silent first responders. We're behind the walls. No one ever really gets to see us unless for unfortunate reasons they have to come up to jail. And we want to also show that we care about our community as well.
Whatever money they have left over after the holidays, the detention center will set it aside to serve the community later on if needed.
So if someone out in the community reached out to us, or if the schools found out about something that was in need, we could help pitch in for something like that, buying a stroller or things along those lines for them throughout the year as well.
The officers will be selling discount cards for $10 each. If you purchase one of the cards, you can use it throughout the entirety of next year to receive discounts at each of the participating Great Falls businesses.
We know that there's families out there that are facing difficult times, and sometimes we're looked upon as maybe in a negative light, and we want to show a positive light that we're giving back to the community, that we care, and that we're not just jailers.
Several of the detention officers will be selling discount cards this Sunday outside the Albertsons on 10th Avenue South from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. In Great Falls, McKenna Dickey, MTN News.
Volunteers throughout Cascade County put on their gloves and rolled up their sleeves for the United Way's annual Day of Caring. Each year, community members get together helping area seniors with some much-needed yard work.
So honestly, for more than 20 years, United Way has recruited volunteers each fall to go out and help seniors in our community. We worked with Aging Services and Meals on Wheels to find seniors who need this kind of service and likely can't afford to pay for it.
Volunteers arrived to get supplies in their list of homes before heading out.
This, I believe, is my 6th year of being able to go out and help the community get some leaves raked up, all that kind of stuff for some people that aren't able to do it.
Volunteers from Malmstrom Air Force Base in Shields were hard at work, raking and picking up piles of leaves.
Every single time I knock on a senior's door and I talk to them, I know that this is a needed service for them.
Volunteering your time is something everyone should do to support your neighbors and community. In Great Falls, I'm Paul Sanchez for MTN News.
We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Positively Montana. I'm Hallie Schwinnard, and we'll see you right back here next week.